Welcome to Beer with Strangers. I'm your host, Tony Russo, and this week I don't have a co-host, I have a guest, and my guest is Lori Clow from Third Wave.
Hello.
Doug did the beforehand tasting, but he didn't want to hang around and take up Lori's time because Lori's got a lot of stuff going on, and we wanted to share it all. So quick, introduce yourself. So you're Lori Clow, you're the Third Wave owner, brewer?
I am co-owner of Third Wave Brewing Company in Delmar, Delaware, yes.
And you brought beer to taste, which is always nice of a guest to do.
We're going to talk about the same beer that Doug had talked about earlier. It's our Beach Juice Berliner Weiss.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first year we put it in a can. We've had it out for about 4 years, and this is the first year of canning it. It's a great summer beer, 4.2% alcohol, a little bit tart, but very, very, very approachable and refreshing in the summertime.
I haven't had it yet this year. I'm drinking it now, but I haven't had it before. I forgot there's malt. You can taste the malt in it.
A little bit, yeah.
Which is nice. So it's not super tart. It's not one of these
super tart, no.
palate wreckers. You can just drink it and enjoy it
all day.
All day.
If you choose.
And it's funny. I wonder. I've had since you put this out last summer. I've had so many sours since then. Did this get less sour, or did I get more used to other sours?
It's probably just a hair less sour than it was on draft last summer.
And is that on purpose, or does that have to do with the canning process?
It was on purpose. We made it just a little less tart from last year. We had a few comments of people saying it was just a little too tart. So we wanted to make it a little more approachable, especially because we're putting it out in cans.
Right. And so let's talk about that for a second. So you guys have a canning line. We've talked about it on the show before, but we haven't talked about it with you. Can you talk about how you guys decided to go? Because one of the things, and I don't think it's a secret, that you were trying to decide whether or not you wanted to build more places to sit or have a canning facility.
Right.
And can you talk about how you went through that process back and forth?
We decided that we either needed to build a patio out in front of the brewery instead of sitting at a picnic table in my parking lot, or did we want to purchase a canning line? So we sat down, looked at the numbers, and thought we could quantitate a number for the canning that we could actually get a return on.
Right.
As far as the patio, it would be a return, but we couldn't definitely say what we were going to get out of that.
You couldn't check it off every month and say we're 1/12 closer to paying it off.
So the canning line, we could definitely say we're going to sell this many cans and it's going to be paid off in this many years, things like that.
And what was the shopping process like for getting the canning line going?
Actually, what we did was the mobile canning unit that we were using, we liked their machine, the process, and we were comfortable with a lot of the ways that it worked. 3 other local breweries use that same brand. So that's where we started our shopping process of knowing that we had seen 3 of these machines in operation locally and in our brewery. And we started from there. And then we just talked to a few other people who had some other brands and cost-wise and things like that. We went with the brand that we had used from the mobile canning unit.
And so far, how many cans have you run? So I was there for the first run of the Shore Break, but I haven't seen any of the other ones. So how many runs have you done?
We've done 2 Shore Break and 1 Berliner Weiss of the Beach Juice. Next week, we're going to run Sunset Peach Wheat cans and Maliana Grapefruit IPA cans. And then we need to do another run of the Beach Juice. Then we'll go back to the Shore Break. And then we're going to do Sandstorm Belgian triple cans.
And so, how far? How well has been the response from your retailers, like the people you're sending the beer to? Is there demand? Like the Beach Juice, I would imagine.
There is. And the first run, we probably have about 20 cases left. So it was a very good first run going out. Quite a few went up into the Baltimore area.
Right.
Our Delaware distributor has picked up several. 40 cases or so. Our Maryland distributor, our local Maryland distributor, also picked some up. So a Berliner Weiss is a different beer. It's not going to go into every liquor store. It's not going to go into every bar or restaurant. Right. So you have to be selective as to where this product goes. There's been a great response for it, and because it was out on draft prior to, a lot of our customers already knew about it and very happy to see it in the can.
Yeah, we're So this is your first new beer. This is your first haven't been canned before beer that's been out. Everything else people have kind of been expected, the apricot wheat and shorebreak. I'm looking forward, I mean, I'm not looking forward to the fall in that way, but I'm looking forward to trying, because you're going to be canning the Big Reef Porter come
In
fall.
the fall, yes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, because that's pretty rare, right? I mean, are there a lot of porters in cans?
There's not a lot of porters in cans, but there's a few.
Mhm.
Just like there's not a lot of Belgian triples in cans. A few of those. So we are going to push the envelope a little bit and get some of those beers out.
Well, and Sandstorm, you think will be out at the end of the month?
At the end of June.
Yeah, early July.
Third week of June.
That's
something like that.
And now you've gone away from bottling altogether now, unless you're hand bottling.
Right, except for our big series bottles, yes.
And while we're at it, then let's talk about one of the events you have coming up. You have a big release party. Did I qualify right? Is it your? I said it's your first canning release party.
It's our first 16-ounce.
There we go.
Limited supply can release.
Right.
Yes.
And so, what are you putting out, and when are you doing it, and all of those things?
On June 24th, we are putting out an upgraded version of our Bombora Double IPA.
Mm-hmm. And now you were talking about that yesterday. So if you're not familiar, Bombora's that's your mainline double IPA, I guess.
Yes.
And that's on all year.
It's on draft all year long.
Right. But you added different hops.
Right. We have triple dry hop this beer, and we're using some lupulin powder for the first time in one of our beers.
I don't know what that is. What is lupulin powder?
So it's where they've taken all the vegetative. I'm not sure what the word is exactly. Parts out of the hop pellets. So this is just the powder. This is actually like the oil.
Oh wow!
But it's in a powder form.
Like a hop hash? Is that the same?
I don't know. I don't know that I could say that. I personally am not that well schooled on it. John Brewer is better, but it's a trend. It's where things are going. So.
And now, do you think that helps it hold up better in a can? Is that part of it, or? No,
I think what it does is it dissipates in the boil better, and then your yield is better at the end. You don't have the
it doesn't suck up as much.
Right, the hop
liquid
mess at the end is not as great. So it's a little bit.
And you've already tried it. You did like a test batch.
We did some small paddle out batches with it. Yeah.
And you said there was more nose. That was the
yes.
Very cool. And you're gonna put those in four pack. Now here you go. So you just kind of had the canning process for the 12 ounces nailed. How does it? Are 16 ounces radically different? Is there a different process for that?
No.
Or?
You just adjust your canner.
The height, yeah.
To accept a 16-ounce can and
now, is there a setting on that, or do you have to
it's
like?
A setting.
All right.
We purchased the machine, so it would be 12 and 16-ounce cans for us.
Oh, cool. So do you expect to do more in the future then?
We're hoping to do 3 releases per year of specialty beers, 3 times a year.
And so the Bombora is the one, and the other one is?
We're putting out a Belgian Pale Ale that we've soured in a barrel for the last 12 months, and it's a dry hopped sour Belgian Pale Ale. It's a lot.
Did you have to get a larger label for that?
No.
And
drop the words down.
What was the name of it?
It's Kahola.
And that means blue whale?
Whale.
Whale? And
in Hawaiian.
Yeah, and it's I guess, is it a big beer, I guess?
It is a big beer.
Yeah. And have you already tried that one? Is that already out, or?
We just hand bottled it on Tuesday.
And
I'm not sure we have all the labels on yet, but we're working on that. So it's all been bottled. We have 100 bottles only.
And so that's it. The first 100.
The first 100 bottles, and that's it. And now that beer will be on tap at the brewery, so you can come in and taste it, as well as some of the Bombora. We'll have a few sixels of the Bombora on draft as well. And
now, but the Bombora is not, that didn't go out to retailers. That's
no, there are 50 cases of that, and they're going to come out in 4 packs.
And the 50 cases are first come, first served.
Absolutely, of both of these releases, yes.
All right. And one of the reasons we have you on is because we're kind of doing this thing where we're trying to get people to sign up in advance for places in line. So if you're interested in, if you're definitely going, you can sign up, and the first person who sends an email gets to be first online, and the second person who sends an email gets to be second online. Have you had any emails?
We just posted it yesterday. As of this morning, we had not had anybody sign up for it.
So there's still a chance.
Yeah.
You can still be first. I would like to see how that worked. I don't.
Right. This is a trial, and people, please remember, this is a trial and error for us.
Yeah.
As far as this whole getting in line, getting the first place in line thing goes, we are opening at 10 a.m. that day, and the tasting room would be open for you to taste beers and to buy this release beer.
Right. And that'll be, of course, before the Shore Craft Beer Fest in Salisbury, which starts at 12:30 for the VIPs. And if you have a ticket to the festival, if you buy a ticket to the festival between now and then, you get $1 off on both, on the bottle and also on the can if you wanted to buy the bottle and the cans. Have you got the can labels yet? Did they come
The labels are in, but the can itself is not in yet.
And how's it look? Does it look as you expected to?
It does. The label looks great. We're just waiting for the cans to come in, and then
And now, so do you have one of those sealers? I didn't see that part of the. How do you get the labels on the cans? Or are they just the silver cans with the?
It's a silver can, and we're gonna figure out a way to put the label on.
Just brush them, I guess, with.
I made they're sticky labels.
Right. Oh, all right. That's good.
So I made
because it's 1920 and you have to wallpaper them on.
Yeah. I did make some phone calls this morning to ask, because our bottle label machine will crush the can. Full or empty, it will crush the can.
Right.
So it's not going to work for our label machine. We're looking at a hand crank label machine, but we also made a little rig ourselves for our big barrel bottles, so that the bottle slots in, and so you have a good line.
So it's straight.
So it's straight. Because the hand label something it's tedious, and it doesn't always come on straight.
Well, you could put them all on upside down or something like that. Like make it like I'll have to ask my brother. My brother sells beer in New Jersey, and he works for a small brewery, and I don't know whether they hand label or not their cans, because they do the same thing. They do the 16 ounces in like limited release.
Right.
And those cans, those labels are stuck on. So I guess that's kind of how those things go.
We figured out bottles.
Right.
I'm not sure we figured out cans.
Just in time to sell your machine.
Right.
Did you end up selling? Did you find someone to take your machine?
We've had 2 people interested, and we haven't sold it yet. So if anybody's interested in a bottling machine, I have the bottler, I have the label machine, and I have an air compressor. Package deal.
Yes, and you also will answer the phone calls for a while, or no?
Absolutely. I will answer any questions you have about those machines.
Well, because that was kind of the thing when you got it. It took a little while for you guys to get used to. So this is a bottling machine, right?
Right. It was fairly old, and if you just looked at it wrong, it just stopped working. It was a frustrating machine to work with.
Well, it's funny. I was over at Tall Tales when Eric Camper there first got his. And they had a brand new bottling line, and it was still a mess for him to set it up. He'd be talking, and the bottles would fall off the end of the line and things like that. So I know it's a complicated process just to get it with a brand new machine. So with an old machine, I can't imagine that.
We'd get it dialed in, and I would say, look, nobody goes anywhere. You just stay here until we're done, because as soon as you walk past it wrong, a sensor would go wonky, and then you.
Half-fill beers.
Yeah, half-fills and foam, and it was. But so far, the canning line has worked perfectly.
Really?
Just couldn't ask for anything better. Now I've said that, and now we'll go in there tomorrow. And
I was talking to somebody else who I didn't know had been there to do canning, and their name escapes me, but it's someone I know. So you have like a small army now of people who are helping you.
Volunteers. Got a lot of volunteers.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And how I guess the training process isn't a lot. It's mostly manual labor.
Right. It's the people pulling the cans off the line and putting the pack tops on and loading the pallet. That's really what it is.
But they don't get tired of it. So far, everybody's come back.
So everybody's come back, and we rotate you around so you're not standing in one spot. And if you could do 2 hours, great. And then I'll get somebody else for 2 hours. And we usually buy some pizzas and
I can't remember who it was. I just remember thinking, I feel like it was a woman, and I feel like she was little. And I thought, wow, you must be very, very, very tired at the end of the day. It'll come to me as soon as we're off the air. But so that's that. The downside is now you're stuck with me for the rest of the show. It shouldn't be too bad. The first thing that I want to report on is I'm on the Reform on Tap task force in Maryland. So I always like to report on that when I come back from it. And yesterday they started talking about the limits. We started talking about the limits, and in Maryland, I don't know if you know this, there's a limit to how much beer you can sell over the counter and how much beer you can sell to yourself. One of the things in the new laws, if you sell 3,000 gallons, 3,000 barrels from your tap room, and you want to sell a 4,000th barrel, you actually have to buy it from the distributor. So they come and they pick up your barrels, and then they take them to their warehouse, and then you order them, and then they bring them back from your warehouse, and then you pay them, and then you can sell them. These people are not.
and who made this law?
Well,
is it old?
No, this is the new compromise bill. I don't know if you saw when they made the initial law was changed all the hours. Do you remember hearing about that?
I do.
And so, this was it used to be, I think, 2,000 barrels, and they wanted to make it up to 10, and the compromise was 3, and then a 4th one you could buy from the distributor. And that's one of the things. Next week, the distributors are going to speak. So there are some distributors on the task force, and I can't remember his first name. His last name's Hall. He's from Calvert County or Upper Marlboro, someplace like that. And I'd love to hear, because distributors aren't bad people. I don't know enough of their business to know what really matters to them and what they're just kind of going along with or whatever. Because you get along well with your distributor, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I have 5 distributors, and I do get along well with.
Yes, well, I'm sorry, but you have an AB InBev distributor here, right? Isn't that one of them?
I have 2 AB InBev distributors.
Yeah, and so
I have 6. What did I say? 6? 1, 2, 3.
You said you had 5, but you have 6 distributors.
Yeah.
And from all reports last night, everybody says that they haven't had the kind of distributor problems that everybody's afraid of having.
No, I've had distributor problems. I can't say, and I don't know anybody that hasn't. It's because everything boils down to having a relationship. And if you don't have a good relationship with the other company and the salespeople and all that, then you're going to have problems. But overall, I have no complaints about any of my distributors. And I have independent, I have AB, and I have Middle Course. So I across the board with everybody, and everybody gets along great. Very supportive group of people that we're working with. Couldn't ask for a better group of distributors, really.
So we'll see what's going to happen with that in Maryland. And the other thing that they spoke about, which was the real interest to me, is that there are also production caps, and the general production caps are, I think, one of the things that we're going to try really hard to get removed from the law. And the other thing is that the time constraints did go in. So if you want to open up a brewery now, you're really, really limited to what you can sell and to what you can and to how late you can stay open, which is a problem. And this is what I try not to speak a lot, because once I start, I don't shut up. So a lot of the city, I don't want to say it this way, but I will. But a lot of the city brewers were talking about how tap rooms are mostly like the promotional end of the business, and that's when I had to say, yeah, well, out in rural Maryland anyway, it's not just the promotional end of the business. You know, I said, I live on the Delaware line, so there's Third Wave by me, and there's Mississippian River, and there's Burley Oak, and those are like town centers. They're not just advertising for their beer. They make not only do they make a significant amount of money selling pints over the bar, but they also act as an economic engine for the rest of the towns. It makes it something that, you know, hopefully in Delmar, you mean Delmar,
Right.
Delmar's
Delmar's a small town, but we are a draw for that town. You know, some of the local restaurants benefit from us being there. Just the revenue from us to the town. But we are a big draw. We have a very, very, very local a crowd that comes in on a regular basis to us.
Right, and that's the other thing they were talking about is there's some sort of misconception that craft breweries take away from local restaurants, and the city brewers were saying that's not the case, and the city restaurants were saying that's not the case, you know, and retailers are the other people who are concerned. But again, I did get to tell this story, and I don't know if I've told you this story, but I'll buy Evo at the liquor store in Delmar, but I won't buy Third Wave at the liquor store in Delmar because they don't keep it cold. And if I'm like, I'll just come in and get it, you know.
Right.
I don't like to have to plan in advance.
Right.
If I did plan in advance, like if I was going somewhere and I was throwing everything in a cooler, then that's one thing. But that's a thing that I think that retailers don't get when they say, well, we don't want, well, the local breweries are competing with us by selling their beer. You know, A, they sell it at the same price. Right. But B, if they have a cold and you don't have a cold, then you don't want my business. That has nothing to do with the brewer. Right. You know, if you're not going to make an effort to keep local beers cold and prominent, then you're going to lose the local beer business.
I get it.
So that's where we stand with Reform on Tap. We'll see how long it goes. It's until October 25th is when we make our recommendations. So we meet once or twice a month. We meet twice in June, and then once in July and August, and then twice in September. So we'll see. I was at the upside for me is I get to go to all of these breweries that I never would have gone to unless I was in the neighborhood. So I was at Calvert. I don't know if you've been. It's a nice place. They're I think going to start contract brewing for other people now.
I think so. I think I've heard that, yes.
Because it's huge. And next time we're going to Mountain Time.
Mountain Time?
No, it's not Mountain
Time.
And the last thing that we had to talk about was, did you see the rate beer thing? Have you been embroiled in any of the rate beer nonsense?
I've read about it, but I have not put my 2 cents into it.
Oh. Well, if you would prefer not to, you don't have to. Would you like me to start with my 2 cents?
Yes, let's go with yours. I'll decide if I want to put mine in or not.
Fair enough. So for you guys who haven't heard, first Dogfish Head and then a bunch of the larger brewers found out that rate beer got bought in part by AB InBev and said, you know, please take our beers down. I don't think that's necessary or relevant. And I don't know if they mean it. Like sometimes you wonder how much someone means it, or else how much someone just wants to highlight the fact that you're doing this thing. You know, like, so I don't use rate beer. I never have. I'm not. The worst rating you can get from me on Untappd, which I do use, is 3 stars, because I don't know enough about beer to give anyone less than 3 stars. You know, I don't. I know people who have good palates. I'm not one of them. If I use it more for me than anything else. If it's something that I've given 3 stars to in the past, that means you weren't nuts about it last time. If there's something here that you like better, try that instead. Mostly it's notes to me. Rate beer just has always seemed a little too involved for me in the first place. It seems like where the beer snobs tend to go and hang out anyway, and that's not my crowd.
Right.
So that said, you know, I don't see why. I saw this on the internet a couple times. It's not your beer; it's my rating, and you can't take down my rating on your beer.
Right.
And I don't know if there's even a mechanism for that. That's why I think it was more like, we don't endorse you anymore. I think might have been a better way to put it.
Right. I agree with a lot of what you said there. And if you're going to use those tools, like you said, for yourself, that's great. Keep track of your beer. You know, if that's what you're using it for. If you're using it to bash somebody's beer, that's wrong. You know, I disagree with doing that. I
Right.
can't say it's wrong. I think that back. It is.
No,
I
it's-
disagree with doing that kind of thing. If that's what you're doing it for, then that's the wrong way to do it. But
Yeah, only
Make
because
notes
I
for
don't even
yourself.
know you anyway. Like I'm not
Right.
like
make your own decision. Don't worry about what
absolutely.
everybody else
That's
thinks.
why there are tasters.
Try it, like it, don't like it.
And
Make your
then
own decision.
that'll be it, right? Okay, so we're getting ready to wrap it up. We're going to be a little short this week, but that's because we didn't have Doug on with its homebrew FAQ, which is fine. We'll have that, I guess, more of that next week. And then just quick plugs. There are no classes here because it's summertime, but if you get 4 people together and you want to have a class on how to homebrew at Extreme Brewing, just ring them up and arrange for the class, and they'd be happy to have you. And last but not least, one more time, we're having the release party is
June 24th, starting at 10 a.m., we are releasing our special Bombora Triple Dry Hop Double IPA in a 16-ounce can, and Cajola, the Belgian sour, dry hop Belgian sour. It's been in a barrel for a year.
Chardonnay barrel.
Chardonnay barrel for a year. We're also going to have a food truck at 10 a.m. It's
Oh,
going
that's
to do
cool.
some breakfast sandwiches and things, and then do some lunch after that.
Who is that? Do you know yet?
Time to eat.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry. And of course, Shore Craft Beer Fest Salisbury River Walk celebration is also on that same day. It's on the 24th. It is from 12:30 to 4:30. Tickets are available at shorecraftbeerfest.com. Ticket prices are going up. So if you want to get your tickets, get them soon. If you look around hard enough, there are discounts to be had. You're always better off with the VIP. You get the glass. I think you get a T-shirt, and you get an extra hour of drinking. And what happens a lot of times, and I'm one of the guys selling tickets, people are like, I don't want the VIP. And then they show up 40 minutes early, and they're like, you know what, I will. And then you have to pay more. So get the VIP and then show up on time. If you're coming into Ocean City, there will be a free shuttle from Ocean City to Salisbury. I think this is the only time that Ocean City allows people to leave Ocean City to go anywhere else. We're very proud of having been able to coordinate that. So there'll be a shuttle, and just reach out to us at shorecraftbeer.com, and we'll be happy to put you on the shuttle list. And last but not least, a little plug for me. If you're not all beered out, on the 25th at Layton's Chance Winery, I'll be giving a talk on beer, and I'll be selling my beer books, Eastern Shore Beer and Delaware Beer, which are the 2 books I wrote. You can find them on Amazon as well. And so I'm gonna say until next week, and then you say that, okay?
Okay.
All right. So until next week.
Drink what you like and be happy.
All right. We'll see you, folks.
Thank you.